We're not in the United States, as you'll hear with their South American accents, but good day, mate.
That's Australian.
No, it's not. No, it's all the same. I know, Steve, I know. Anyway, tell us where we are, Curtis.
We are at Grapham Water. We've wanted for a while to come and film some proper stillwater fishing techniques in a place that is not blank reservoir by our house.
Strawberry.
And whoa.
So we have Kieron Jenkins, competition angler extraordinaire, one of the best anglers in these parts. Steve Carew, he's the genius behind all the fly tying and materials for Fulling Mill. He and I obviously have a lot to talk about because we're material nerds. I don't know what's going to go on in this boat, but
fishing.
We just catch fish.
Just catch fish? See, that's why I chose this boat. We're the rock and roll boat. What do you say, Steve? Snakes today?
So yeah, so there's loads of buzzer hatching. So in theory we could go out nymphing, but we're going to go out with the big stuff. So fast sinking lines, big flies, hopefully big predatory trout. We've had the reports that they're catching big trout on the snake flies, so it's filthy.
Yeah, it is filthy. All right, let's do this.
That's a big brown, bro.
So here we are in the UK, and I want to give you a little tour of a proper UK fly box. This box belongs to a gentleman named Kieron Jenkins. He's standing behind me, but I'm not going to include him in part of the video. He might hear what I'm saying. What you got to have is about 400 spools, and see, sometimes the fish really like the blue line, but then if it's really hot, you change to anything with orange backing and you're on. So see this? Salt water. Caught a few marlin on that yesterday. This thing as well, garbage. That's why he leaves it right there. Typically doesn't use that stuff. All kinds of fly pole line. This is a priest, so he can knock out the fish. Like he comes up, whack, settle down, I'll let you go, but freaking chill out. Then we got these boxes here. I don't want to take them out. They look real fancy. And then, you know, some of these. Don't know what they're called, but they work real well. Anyway, proper box for the UK. Probably catch 4 or 5 fish on it. Hey, Kieron, great box. I totally don't think you have too much stuff.
No, I don't.
No. All right, so good. Don't take that much stuff.
Originally snakes were really big, and it was like an impact fly, and on waters where fish hadn't seen these really big lure patterns, they were just like crazy effective. Now people are often using sort of like normal size patterns but in the snake format, just because the hook's at the back. You get the take, you're always hooking up on them. But do you use the really big ones that much anymore?
Not anymore.
Like the big 10 centimetre, 12 centimetre? Yeah, most of the time it's like the 5 centimetre ones, but yeah, originally it was the really big ones, and it was an impact fly on fresh fish, and it was ridiculously effective.
Started over on Savage's Point. This is a renowned area for big fish on Grapham. There's very good fly life over in this area of the lake, lots of good weed beds, lots of fry action as well. So we come over here fishing sinking lines and snake flies, sort of trying to target the bigger, older fish in the lake, the ones that are feeding on the fry patterns basically. And then later in the day when the buzzer starts hatching, hopefully they'll switch onto those as well, and we can have a go at them fishing chironomids on floating lines and midge tip fly lines. Yeah, so at the start of the day we like to mix up the retrieves a little bit. So you get you try the fast retrieve, try the slow retrieve, just to see if there's any retrieve in particular the fish are more interested in. Today is probably going to be a slow retrieve with the flat calm weather. In the wind they like it pulled a bit, they start to chase quite well in the wind. But the slow retrieve will probably be the way forward today. Usually the takes are quite hard on the big stuff, so on the big flies. Need something to cushion that. I've got the 10-pound Fulling Mill Masterclass tippet.
So I think one of the biggest distinctions between Stillwater fishing over here and the U.S., I think Stillwater's still fairly new in the U.S. in a lot of ways. Used to seeing a lot of people get out in their float tubes or pontoon boats with a woolly bugger and maybe a sinking line, chuck it out there and then kick backwards. And we call that the kick and switch. Certainly you're going to catch fish like that, but here fly selection is quite a bit different. Way more focus on fly lines than I think you'd see in the U.S. We're starting to get some of the more specialty Stillwater line. I remember talking to Kieron, I don't know, a couple years ago, and you had mentioned something, the fact that often you would change lines, not more often, but just as much maybe, than changing a fly right off the bat.
Yeah, we tend to try and find the level of the fish rather than what they're actually sort of feeding on. So you probably start on something that's relatively similar, like if they're on a buzzer, we'll put a nymph or a buzzer pattern on. But if you're not catching anything and you know there's fish in the area, we try and drop a level with the fly line then. Yeah. Or change the fly line style completely, like what you were using there, we'll try and give it a different profile through the water. So it'll sweep that line there sinks in a U-shaped profile. So that might provoke a take where it sort of dives away from the fish. Or we'll put a tip line on which sort of hangs your flies off the surface and sort of hanging in more than falling through,
Yeah, like Rob was saying yesterday, if you give him a bag of Skittles versus a candy bar, he's probably going to eat either of them. So whether it's a chironomid or a little hare's ear kind of nymph calibatus pattern, as long as you have it in the zone.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing, is getting your flies in front of the fish, and if they're hungry they tend to eat whatever's in front of them. So
I let that one marinate for a little bit, and it got down to where I think it was close to the bottom.
Yeah.
This has gotten into a fight with the cormorant.
Looks like cormorant stab.
Boom! No checking. That's what he ate.
Good work. So yeah, just moved out into some deeper water, probably into 15-20 foot of water now. The sun has picked up quite high in the sky, and the fish that were feeding in the edge have stopped rising. So they probably pushed out into the deeper water here. We'll drop it down a bit and hopefully pick up some fish. So a lot of the time the fish actually come up and take close to the boat. So we use a method called the hang. We literally pull the line in to the end of the rod tip and pause, watch your flies lift them up gently up to the surface. A lot of the time the fish will follow up and take right as it comes to the boat. And there's a fish following there actually, just drop back down. Followed the olive snake up. So after every retrieve, after every cast, we always hang the flies just to you always get a fish at the end of the retrieve there.
So the arm is holding up. It's I don't have full range of motion and not much strength. My muscles have not been doing anything for about 2.5 weeks, but I survive. Kieron, who taught you to cast?
So Howell Morgan and Gareth Jones.
Okay.
Both industry guys, top casters, both of them, and they. Howell's.
You're one of the best casters, honestly, I've seen, dude.
I don't know about that.
when we were at IFTD, I think, a couple years ago, whenever it was. That was in Denver, so it was maybe 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Tim Rajeff was standing there, and Lance was casting while we were just standing there, and Tim just was going on and on about how good a caster was.
Yeah.
I'm like, Lance, you realize you got compliments from one of the best casters in the world.
I bet he enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Tim is a great caster, isn't he?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. No, it's with the lake stuff. The further you cast, the deeper you get a lot of the time, isn't it? With the heavy sinking lines. So we've grown up trying to cast as far as we can, you know.
Yep.
And we just had a fish down there now.
Pure power.
You're slowing us down even more, Dom.
Yeah, they did pick up a lot of speed now that I'm not in there.
Yeah. We should have waited for you to get in until we got over there. Blowdown is, we're trying to figure them out. We don't have a lot of wind, got a lot of boats on the water, and so we moved to a new spot. I've got a sweep line with 3 flies. I'm going to try to go finesse. We'll see if it works. They assure me they're fishing here, so.
So I've got a big black and gold snake booby, dye 5 line, and I'll just try and search the depths a bit. So I can see that lots of the guys here are fishing probably buzzers, and we're just going to try and take the outside drift because there's lots of boats drifted on the inside. So in theory, they might push the fish out a little bit. This also might not be the case. They might all be on the inside, but because it's pretty busy, we'll try on the outside. I'll try and search the depths a little bit, see if we can get something on this big snake. If I do get interest on it, it's quite likely to be something decent. So yeah, I'm going to try some big stuff, but if I do start seeing the guys catching on the sort of tactics higher up, I'll switch. But for the moment, I'm going to get down and dirty.
Did you say tactics higher up?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Like more ninja. Like that, dang, that's very well worded, Steve. Goodness gracious. He's a wordsmith, a great fly tyer, and a good fisherman, you know?
So I am seeing, although lots of guys sometimes are a little bit sneaky and like dye fly lines and stuff, but almost everyone is on light coloured fly lines. So they are fishing high. But if there's fish here, I reckon there'll be some deeper down as well. So try hoofing this about for a little bit.
Sweet. Well, all right, so this is a cool line. This is the Sweep 24i from Rio. So I'm making really long casts, trying to get all 3 densities out. And then I was really trying to get it down to depth, and then just real easy pulls. My line just kind of stopped. Oh, freak, he just popped off. All right, so that one ate a fab, and I'm gonna get another one. Yesterday, we were fishing Rutland, very famous water around here, and everyone was pre-fishing for a tournament. It was very secretive. Nobody really wanted you to know what they were doing. We were catching fish on a certain type of fly I can't say right now because there are other people around. The competition where, like, if you catch fish and you got a fly that's working and a line that's working, you don't tell anybody till after the competition, of course.
And probably even then not.
Yeah. So anyway, very secretive. Sorry, I keep seeing warbirds fly over. This one's on a top fly, it looks like. Nope.
Fab again.
Fab again. Like that. I think it's called Blushing Sunburst or something. All right. Oh, he's off again. That's all good. I need to check that hook now. So Dom, do you think I ought to get one in?
What inch per second is your line?
So it's a 2 inch per second running line, 4 inch per second head, and an intermediate tip. It's a new sweep from Rio. That was on the hang. So there's a hang marker 20 feet up on this line. When it comes up, you just kind of lift your rod up and it sweeps your flies up. I'm not gonna talk until I get this in though. But that's how I got it.
Nice, good skills.
And this one is on the Space Leech with a new color bead from Fulling Mill. Would you look at that, eh? Okay. Oh, nice silvery rainbow. There's your fly.
We're fishing traditional lock style with a drogue out the back. Now there's hardly any wind, so you almost don't need a drogue because the drogue's there to slow the boat down. But the drogue will also ensure that you drift side on to the wind. If you don't have any drogue out, the boat will go to drift point downwind. So it just makes us sit straight and the boat drift the way we want it to. So
we're winning the comp, Steve.
You got
friendly. Attaboy. Sure. Can you show me how to land a fish? Nice work.
So, although I'm on the snake, for big ones, it's probably the smallest fish of the day. Right, so I just want to change my line. So I'm using one of these cassette reels. So I'm changing lines because I'm on a normal Dye 3 sinking line, but I just feel like I want to cover a bit more distance. So I'm going to put the 40 plus line on. It's like a shooting head, just goes out a little bit easier. I'm going to reel the leader all the way through the rod till the fly hits the tip ring. Take my other line, thread that up through the butt ring, just come up here, snip off my leader. Just tie my leader to the loop on the end of the fly line quick. Snip off the tag end. Then we just swap the spools over. So these cassette reels are pretty nifty at doing this. Clip this on. Click my spool back in place. And then we're back to fishing with a different line. With these cassette type spools or reels, you can change a fly line in probably a minute. You know, if you think all of a sudden you want to be doing something different, you want to be getting a bit more depth, you want to be getting a bit more distance, it's a really easy way to change your fly line. You know, if you think you should change, you often probably should, so it's just a quick way of doing it.
One thing that's very apparent here is in the United States we don't have long enough net handles. 14, 18 feet, 27 feet, I mean.
So it's actually a big thing. Quite often guys might be fishing 12 or even 14 foot to the top dropper.
Yeah.
And then they've got another 12 foot from that top dropper to the point. And it can be really difficult to net fish on the point fly if you don't have the long handle net.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's a brown.
It's a brown.
Hey, good skills.
Ooh. Maybe I should land it. Whew, nice. So this one ate a little cruncher. It's kind of like it's like a soft tackle chronomid, pretty much. But a nice brown, so that's cool. I'm stoked to catch a brown here. Really solid fish.
Okay. It's on the nymph, I think.
Attaboy. So what flies do you have set up?
So I've got a darbark and a cruncher. and a fab on the point. And that was on the dial.
Hot head?
Yeah, little hot head one. So that was just on a straight washing line setup. So about 20-foot leader of the 3X Masterclass. First dropper at 10 foot, and then the other two flies spaced 5 feet apart. I've got a fab on the point and 2 nymphs on the droppers, and that took the nymph. And I'm just fishing it completely static, and once I've cast out, I straighten the cast and then hold my rod about, so the line is about 1 foot off the water surface. I'm just watching that loop of line in between my rod tip and the water. When the line ticks up, you've got a fish. That's it. That loop of line as well, so when you're fishing nymphs, quite often the takes are pretty savage, and if you're right tight on them, you can get snapped quite often. So that little loop of line, it just gives you that little tiny bit of slack in there as well.
Another fish. I don't even know what fly it's on, but I was going real slow, just letting it kind of sit, and that's what he liked. He didn't look giant, but man, he's pulling. Oh, that's on a new leech. That's a space leech, the thin mint one. Sir. I have a parabolic line or sweep line, and on this line there's a little white indicator that tells me I only have 20 feet of line out left, so I'm going to take my rod and move it up to a 45-degree angle like this, and it sweeps my flies up through the water, and then I'll finish my retrieve, whether fast or slow, and just kind of pull it through this hang, which is what you call it, fishing the hang. That's kind of moderately slow fishing today, and I caught 3 of 4 fish on the hang. So a lot of times, you know, I get impatient, I just cast again, but you know, if you're patient and fish the line like it's designed, it can be really effective. So pretty cool. Fish the hang.
Ooh, you bugger. I just missed one myself.
This is on that little blank saver leech, the space leech. That's a custom dub blend. I've never fished this fly before.
Genuinely?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, this is a brand new fly.
They fight pretty good in there.
Goodness gracious. Come on, buddy. I'm a chill American. I just want to have a good time, bruh. Okay, this is a rainbow that's in really good shape. This is a beautiful fish. Here in the UK, this is what we call a cracker. So that's a holdover fish, really nice and healthy, nice fins, nice fat rainbow. And she gone. Okay, the guys across the way got my binoculars out and they were checking me out. I'm pretty sure it's because I usually wear a 4X shirt and I got 3X and my muscles are showing extra strong. Surely he's not looking at American fishing his river, so it has to be those bad boys. That's what he's looking at. Here it is, Grapham water. We just fished it. It was tough.
A little slow, too calm.
A little slow.
Not enough wind.
But there was a language barrier to our defense. All the guides speak like, hey guys, how's it going? How are we doing, sir?
Thanks, Cheech. Good.
Average. Average? Oh yeah, he caught a 20-pound pike. Average. And you, sir, where are you from?
Wales.
What? What?
Wales.
No, and I'm not talking about whales or dolphins.
No.
Tell me where you're from.
Big Wales.
Wales. This is the Welshman, Kieron Jenkins, good friend of ours, excellent angler, and it's cool to share some time with you out on the water.
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting me.
And guess what? I've been here 3 days. I'm out of here.
Yeah.
I'm leaving. Okay. But yeah, this is the Fulling Mill crew here in the UK. Excellent people. We had a great time hanging out with them. And we tried not to piss them off very much so they'd invite us back next year. So.
Definitely.